We are just about at the fall stretch and the highly anticipated Google Pixel 6 series is upon us. However, before a new wave of Pixel devices usher into the world, Google quietly updated their most affordable line of devices with the brand new Pixel 5a 5G today. On the surface, the 5a may not even register as a spec bump, yet with a lower starting price and a brand new type of hardware material, this phone might be worth an upgrade regardless. Here's our first look at the Google Pixel 5a 5G. The 5a marks the end of an era. Whenever the 6 and the 6a eventually see the light of day, the box will just be a tad bit lighter. You see that power brick inside the box? Yeah, say goodbye to that. Google confirmed today that they are also going the way of Apple and no longer including a power brick with the purchase of the phone starting with the upcoming Pixel 6. Other than that, the 5a ships almost exactly as how the 4a shipped out. The similarities don't just end there, as the Pixel 5a also shares the same processor as last year's 4a 5G. The Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G chipset makes a return with 6GB of RAM accompanying it. There's only one option with 128GB of storage. So while the specs of the brain of the operation are identical, a bigger battery and a new body highlight the improvements worth discussing in this refresh. Google upgraded the 5a with a metal unibody while retaining that matte plastic finish we've come to like from previous Pixel devices. The power button continues that Pixel two-tone approach from previous years, but the texture did change a little bit. It has a ridge feel to it now. In what I can only assume is a budgeting move, there's only one colorway offering this year, and that's just black. I swear by the tech gods, that when I got the box today, I thought to myself that Google sure is getting cheap, as the print of the image sure looked like it was fading and not actually black. Lo and behold though, the phone really is like a slightly desaturated black. Under LED lights, it looks rather green. And now I'm positive that this is actually a green color because the default wallpaper is a dark woodsy green too. It's paired together. Well played, Google. It's not black. The USB-C slot and the 3.5mm jack were all retained, just as the rear-mounted fingerprint scanner was. There's also now added Ip67 certification to officially give the 5a dust and waterproofing. These things, added on top of an already serviceable 4a, can be had at only $449. While we've seen some higher processor performing Chinese phones in this price range, it's quite difficult to argue against the 5a at $50 cheaper than the 4a. The Pixel 5a is also a tad bit bigger than the 4a. This doesn't really translate over to the display, which is almost a near exact 6.3-inch 2400 by 1080p OLED panel, good for 415 ppi. Unlike the higher refresh rates spilling over to the mid-rangers nowadays, Google only supplies you with a 60Hz refresh rate display here. However, this year's phone does use Corning Gorilla Glass 6 instead of a really outdated Corning Gorilla Glass 3 on the 4a. There's also a bigger battery this year too, which is probably the biggest narrative we should be talking about here with the 5a. We have a 4,680 mAh battery compared to a sub 4,000 one last year on the 4a. No matter how we spin it, with essentially the same internal parts as last year, we should see better battery life this year. Be sure to come back for the full review where we'll put the Pixel 5a through the daily driver experience and give you all our thoughts. As far as the cameras go, it's literally more of the same, as the 5a reuses the 12 megapixel and 16 megapixel dual camera setup found on the 4a 5G and the Pixel 5. I personally would still rank the Pixel 5 as a top 5 camera experience even right now. I expect more of the same with the 5a 5G, and that's a good thing. Many budget buyers purchasing the 5a 5G will be enthusiastically happy with the camera capabilities coming from whatever mid-range or lower phone that they had before. And finally, seeing as this is a Pixel phone, the current version of Google's operating system, Android 11, comes right out of the box. That's also a good thing. A lot of these mid-rangers still don't have Android 11. Google will supply direct software updates for 3 years. You honestly can't go wrong with the Pixel 5a 5G in 2021. While there isn't anything sexy about the phone, it should be a serviceable device for at least the 3 years Google supports it. We'll report back to you with our full review very soon. I'm Alex from the Sypnotix. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
So the other day, I was on a Zoom call at work, and I just dropped everything I was saying, and I told them, subscribe.